from something someone said, I came up with the idea of the future of secrecy. And I believe this was inspired in a conversation where we were watching a video of the destruction of the tunnels in Iraq by the super penetrator bomb. Who knew they had that kind of thing down there? Who knew you could do something like that? And
interrupt. One thing, they did not have weapons of mass destruction, in spite of what.
now,
Yeah.
that's a topic for a different day. Exactly what they had down there, we don't know. Or if we do know, they haven't told us. And if they told us, I don't know if I believe them. Nuclear devices would be a whole different topic. And Mr. Walsh and I would probably have to exempt ourselves. But the question is really, what's secret? I mean, there are a whole lot of things I don't know, but what of them are secrets? Are there secrets that I know? Yes. How do you keep a secret? How do you keep somebody else from finding your secret? More importantly, how do you keep someone from knowing you have a secret that they can look for? What's the difference between something that's secret and something that's private? The this is a wormhole. This is a
I think
mess
the answer is intent.
Oh, that's part of it. There are all sorts of things, but what secrets should you keep? What secrets should you reveal? Are there any secrets you should reveal or must reveal?
And,
I mean, is my old marriage a secret? I mean, I told my wife about it, but not many people know that Marty's my second wife. Yes, Dean.
actually, W was ahead of me, but when you say you, do you mean you, the CIA, or you, the taxpayer? Or all the above? You see what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a multiple layered problem in multiple dimensions.
Yep. But I will add that these ads for double shredding, come to your house and we'll double shred all your financial stuff. That's pointless because they don't have a double shredder for the internet. All of that is on the internet.
Double shredding doesn't work. We've already established that.
Yeah. Well, single shredding was easy. They love single shredding. Yeah. They could put that together.
Double shredding goes back together just like single shredding.
If it's important, more complicated.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The only thing I really heard that would actually work, maybe, would be if you can find the ink originally used and you flood the paper with it and then bleach, you would get something that's very difficult after you shredded it.
Yeah. And in Missouri at my farm, it gets burned. Still legal. It's
Yeah.
all just burned. And in Minnesota, when I was a kid, we had an incinerator, and our bank statements and checkbooks got burned.
Yeah.
And good luck
Putting ash back together that's been stirred is difficult.
Yep.
There is a famous document that was burned, but it was wrapped in a spiral. And someone has taken an X-rayed this document and mathematically unwrapped it. And they are now decoding it, something from 2,000 years ago. So it's hard.
Okay, I have my hand up. Okay.
Yep. Yes, William.
Maybe you can address confidentiality, government secrets, at redacting documents. I think that the government classifies things as confidential way, way, way too much. None of that should be kept from the public, or very little kept from the public. Most of it should be exposed. So that's a comment. Now I have a question. How in the world did they put how in the world do they put double shredded stuff back together?
You take pictures of it.
And you give it to AI.
You take pictures of it, and you find you have one shred, and it has an edge that is 1.36 millimeters long. You take all of the other pieces, and you find all of the edges that have an edge that's 1.36 millimeters long. And you put them up against it one after another, looking to see if there are marks that correspond across the cut.
Amazing. Amazing.
And just repeat until assembled.
Wow.
Rinse and repeat. Tom Walsh.
Mr. Walsh.
(2001, 2002). Yeah, I mean, how does one put a 2,000 or 1,000 piece crossword puzzle, jigsaw puzzle that is all white, and you can buy them? I
haven't done one of those.
It can take. Oh, they have them that are all white.
No, I know.
It's for
we had one.
It's for people with special abilities, savants, right? And yeah, and it can take 2-3 years sitting on a table somewhere in the basement. And I found a piece that fits. Yay!
We had an all red that was 24 inches in diameter.
Oh, well, okay, that's not bad.
Like a pie.
Yeah.
Or a pizza. But it was just all red. It wasn't a pizza. If it had been a pizza, it would have been easy.
Yeah.
Mr. Walsh.
Yeah, I was muted before. Speaking of confidential classification, I noticed back when I had my high level security clearance that there was a lot of confidentially classed documents that had already were common knowledge, had already been published, you know, out in the open. I guess they didn't want them spread any further, but the confidential classification really doesn't mean much. But there are a lot of other levels of classification.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I worked at NAS, the custodial records, everything in that building was confidential or above. Everything. Literally everything. The custodial records were confidential. Oh, I cleaned out this lab and they were building this spooky, you know, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything by definition was confidential, and you had to have a secret clearance just to even get through the gate, and then to get see anything fun, you had to have a top secret.
Yeah, the number of, I don't know that the number of layers and flavors of secrecy is itself a secret.
Yeah.
But I suspect it is.
It probably is. I know I wasn't really close to the top, but mine was higher than top secret. So, you know.
Yeah, once you get above top, then you start getting labeled. And the government comes around and you can, how can I say this? You can have top secret clearance and not know it until the FBI shows up and says, okay, give me your notes. That was 50 years ago, and I suspect it's not important anymore, but I still don't reveal it. Thank you, Dr. Wheeler.
I was going to suggest something about the whole strategy surrounding the Manhattan Project as an example.
Okay.
And there was a need to know term that they used a lot. And there was another term called compartmentalization.
Need to know is baked in, because you have a top secret clearance does not allow you to see everything that's top secret in any facility or whatever. You also need
doesn't allow you to,
no, they
doesn't
go
allow you
together.
to see anything.
Yeah, no, nothing really. Only if someone thinks you need to see that. Otherwise, you don't.
Now, I have several friends who are lawyers who talk about confidentiality, and you can have a wife who's a lawyer or a husband who's a lawyer, and even pillow talk doesn't happen. That even if you're working at Disney on a new project that hasn't been released yet, you can't even tell your family about it.
Sure. That's true in all kinds of Silicon Valley, probably. And yep.
Anyway, it turns out that the topic itself is a mess. Mostly because it's secret. The first video Adam and Eve talks about what is and isn't secrets, and what you must reveal and what you mustn't reveal, and some of the delightful artistic challenges in keeping secrets.
And real quick, I'll comment. I'm all for transparency in government and everything else, but transparency and a secrecy system are kind of antithetical. Is that the word? Yeah. I mean, you can't have a transparent security system, because then it's not a security system anymore.
Unless the security is by being transparent about something you don't know if they use. You don't care if they know. So you classify it and they chase it.
I have a way to. I have one. Okay.
This is a game which has multiple layers.
Can you hear me? Am I on?
Yes.
I have a way to keep secrets. You destroy the concept of truth. Then nobody knows what's real or not. Nobody knows if a secret is true or not. They can't trust it. And then secrets are easy to keep. We're moving in that direction.
Sounds like
Mhm.
1984 to me.
Scary look at the future. First Dean and then Tom.
Yep, I was first. You put Eric to sleep. Wake up, Eric.
Yeah.
No, fascinating. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And if I did my math correctly, this was about 2014 or so, because he was referring to dates.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yep.
is still very applies today. And big data was the substitute for AI, which had not really gotten going then, but it's the same thing. I mean, AI without big data is useless. No, that was very interesting, and I, privacy we talked about, right? Personal privacy, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I related this to Stan, but when I was doing field engineering after I retired and then unretired, there was I had a partner. There were two engineers. He was actually an intern, but and a young guy, and I'm an old guy. I'm closer to his grandfather's age than his father's age, so that'll give you some. And we became good friends, and he's a very smart guy. And we just talked about, and he could type 65, 70 words a minute on his little tiny phone with one thumb. But anyway, I talked about privacy, right? I go, well, don't you worry about privacy and all of that? And he really looked at me and said, "What's privacy?" He said, "Dean, submillennials," because I called them a millennial once. He said, "Who you calling a millennial?" I was born in 1999 or something. He said, "We have in today's world, we are born with zero expectations of privacy. You might as well live your life like you got Nest cameras in your bathroom, et cetera, et cetera." In other words, you just assume that everything that you do is not private. And I said, "Man, that's scary to me." And he said, "Yeah, and that's why you're old and you're supposed to die before it drives you nuts."
Yeah. Privacy has become a fantasy in some ways. Mr. Walsh.
Well, two things. First is there's something that I didn't quite understand what he was talking about, because he said, if I wrote it down right, that privacy is the means and the price to pay for freedom. And then he was talking about it being the price to pay for comfort. And to me, those are two very different things. So can you elucidate what he meant by that? How losing privacy gives you more freedom, which is what I took out, part of what I took out of that. I'm not sure I got that right.
If you conceal something, it's private, but concealed limits what you can do with it. Whereas if you are open about it, as opposed to concealed, then you can do many things, some of which are things people are already imagining or wanting for themselves or whatever. But it's, how can I say this?
Okay, I think I get it.
Keeping a secret labels it as a secret, even if you don't say so.
Yeah, I think what he was getting at is that if you care about privacy, then you're restricted in what you can do. If you don't care, you're free to do whatever you want.
Exactly. That was my takeaway.
And that's kind of the difference between us boomers and the Gen Zers or whatever. I don't think they care because they know it's futile to keep any secrets.
It's you can't have that be a secret. What you can have, say in the context of an interpersonal relationship, you can have what you've done, but you can't conceal that you were gone to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Going back to the Garden of Eden kind of illustration, if we the only way to keep things secret anymore is to basically get off the internet. I mean, get off the web, and to do that, you kind of locked yourself in your own little Garden of Eden. And that you can't escape, because if you do, then your whole life is opened up to everybody else.
yeah.
So it's an interesting
You were
concept.
hiding in your Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
Mhm.
Yes, you were. Were you? I mean, if you say you were, or if you say you weren't, people are going to look differently at you. But were you? Is it anybody's business but yours?
Apparently it is. They want to, big data wants to know everything about you.
Yeah.
And that's why Doge, for example, was trying to collect all our social security numbers and that kind of stuff.
That was something that never made any sense to me. They've assigned us our social security number. How can they not know them? I'm leaving off my 24 objections to why social security numbers are a hopeless form of identification.
Well, they weren't originally intended to be a national identification.
They're
No, they
illegal
weren't.
by
That's
statute
true.
to be used.
It was called a Social Security account number, SSAN. That was
Yes.
all it was
Yep.
supposed to be used for.
That's what it was supposed to be.
And by definition, illegal to be used as any form of ID. And now
Yep.
it's on every driver's license, passport,
Yeah.
et cetera.
Everywhere.
It became the government Big Brother ID.
If you, this scares people, but this group can take it, I'm sure. If you make up a random 10-digit number, the odds are 1 in 3 that that's a real social security number.
You mean 9-digit?
Did I say? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. It'd be 9. Yeah. 9-digit number. Odds are 1 in 3. It's a real social security number for someone.
Yeah.
Maybe deceased, but still valid. We're not reusing them yet. Mr. Christoph.
Just a little bit of a comment for some context. Through most of human history, there was probably zero secrecy. When you live in a tribe, hunter-gatherers with 30 people, everybody knew everything. And I don't know how long that was the case, but probably even today in really small towns, everybody knows everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like this is unprecedented. I kind of like the idea of privacy, so I'm not objecting to the I don't like having my privacy invaded, but just to put it in context, this is a new phenomena for human beings to have secrecy. There are a lot of other things. Okay, that's all I'll say. Just to get a little context.
Yeah.
People in the next town or the next tribe did not know who you are, but now they can. if they've
Yeah.
never seen you before. They know
Right.
they know everything about you if they
But
want.
people in your tribe knew.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty much they do everything. People in the next tribe didn't know, and also pretty much didn't care.
Right. So this is a different type of thing to me.
Yeah.
Because anyone can know.
Yeah. It's probably better to think of it as everyone does know. They just haven't told you they know yet. Stan.
Well, I have a couple of things here. The thing you were just describing reminds me of my own childhood. My father being a Methodist minister, the Methodists actually moved the ministers around for exactly the reason that you're describing. And that is that if they have somebody that they don't like in their as their pastor, they can decide, well, they're going to go away in 3 to 7 years, so I can hold out for that and so forth. As a child of a Methodist minister, you have to start all over again making friends in small towns in Iowa, which is where I lived at the time. But I want to make a transition to another topic I was going to say. As a philosophy student, we found Nietzsche to be the founder of the idea that, hey, the Garden of Eden is no longer here. We're living in a secular world. We have to get used to the freedom, and the notion of existentialism sort of started with that Kierkegaardian and Nietzschean Sartre transition philosophy, where you are now, instead of having a predestined destination, your existence precedes essence, and that you will be able to make decisions based upon your own way of deciding how to do things, not on some kind of theologically dictated doctrine. That probably sounds boring, but I think it's got some.
No, it's
not boring, Stan.
no, it's not. I had in a way the same kind of childhood. My younger siblings had more of it because Dad was transferred every 3 or 4 years. We moved from Billings to Fargo to Glendive to Aberdeen to Michigan to Kansas. It was a whole lot like he hadn't left the military at all when I think back at it. And he and Mom were used to it because she'd also been in the military in World War II. But for the kids, that was, you hesitated to make friends because they were going to go away.
I mean, I've been thinking that it would be nice if I could do at least 55-year reunions and so forth. My graduation school, Shenandoah, Iowa, I lived there for junior and senior year. Other towns I lived in for 6 years, but I don't go to their reunions because it'd be nice to crash the party and sort of find out what's going on with those characters as well.
We just had our 60th reunion a couple of months ago, high school reunion, and we had probably a dozen year crashers who graduated in the 1960s. We're class of 65, but they came and caught up to catch up with old friends who'd been, they were sophomores and seniors and like vice versa. And the only comment I really heard about it was, well, that was nice. We should have more of this.
Right.
Well, anyway, Dean. Oh, sorry, Stan.
Yeah, I think I'm still up. And now you guys reminiscing about, you wonder why young people don't tune out because we talk like old people, but I get it. It goes back to Stan's rule of 150. as in 150, whoever came up with that,
Dunbar.
is the optimum size for people that you can have a relationship with, a village, a tribe, a clan, some caves. And yeah, so you can, and the idea that you don't have secrets from the other 149 is okay, because that is how social norms are formed.
That's how society works.
That's how society works. But it doesn't work when it's 150 billion, as much.
No.
Yeah. In other words, and I was watching that thing I told you about on the Greeks, and they had ostracism, right? When somebody wasn't acting like the norms. Now we're talking about 10, 20, 30, 40,000 people. They could vote that person into exile for 10 years. They did not take away their property or their wives or their slaves, but they had to move from Athens to Sparta. And then, kind of like a sentence saying, hey, you weren't fitting in with our norms, and now you're welcome back, and we embrace you and all that. But yeah, it's that one. There is a maximum number of people that you can have trust relationships, some shared values, but it ain't 300 million, and it's not 8 billion. That's the problem with social media.
That number fluctuates a little bit upon the homogeneity of the group.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That 150 is just sort of a median. I don't know where he came up with that.
It's bigger than the U.S. Senate and smaller than the U.S. House.
There you go. Yeah, perfect.
Eric, you're muted. You're still muted.
On here, okay. Yeah, 3 brief incidents to do with privacy, personal incident. In the mid-70s, I worked at a copy shop in Harvard Square, and in those days, people typically paid for large jobs with a check, and to take their checks, we had to check their driver's licenses, which in Massachusetts in those years had our social security number on them. And as an old guy, he handed it to me, and he laughed and says, when Roosevelt issued these to us, he swore up and down these would be totally private. Then in the 90s, as I was writing, I often rode to work with on the Express Plus was a marketing guy from Dayton Target, marketing manager. And one time he teased me saying, I can punch a few buttons and find out not only what brand of toilet paper you use, but whether you wipe, fold, or crumple. Then just recently, I was talking to, with online with a friend of mine who's a lawyer, and her husband's a professional cybersecurity expert, and I had asked a question, and he basically said, "We have no privacy." So that's it. That's all there is to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mr. Christoph.
Oh.
It is not impossible in the future that the technology will exist so that lies the courts and things can detect a lie with 100% accuracy, so that even your thoughts will not be totally private. MRIs, AI analysis of facial expression and voice expression. Polygraphs nowadays are not very valuable, but in the future, it is possible, I would say likely, that we will be able to detect anybody who is lying, whether it's true or not, they will not be able to keep their thoughts, their lives private. And that could be an advantage in the court system.
But how do you detect someone knowingly lying? How do you distinguish between someone knowingly lying and someone who is ignorant
Good point.
or thinks they know, but they don't? It's messier than that.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Dean.
Gotta unmute. Yeah, lying. So this is anecdotal. Well, it's not. I've watched a whole lot of stuff about polygraphs and lie detectors, and basically they're useless. They work on the innocent. They don't work on the guilty so much. But there was 2 or 3 experts that said it is very easy to tell when someone is lying. And that is if they blink when they say that lie, it's likely a lie. And I shared this with Stan. I was going to a Who concert at Jack Murphy Stadium, and I was going in with a underage girl. I mean, we weren't, she was like 14, 15. And we had a bottle of orange. In those days, you could had a bottle of orange juice, right? Well, that orange juice was spiked with vodka. And you're going up through the checkout. And it was just inspiration. And the guy said, "So what do you got in that half gallon bottle there?" I said, "Orange juice." And he said, "And that's it?" And I looked him in the eye, I mean, square on, not blinking, 2 feet away. And I said, "We are Mormons and we don't drink." And he said, "Thank you, son." Go ahead. And we drank the vodka and orange juice. But yeah, you see, so blinking, and you watch these politicians, Hedgehog and whoever, and whenever they tell a lie, like the war is going to be over yesterday and all that, they will blink. It's very hard to not do that. You can train yourself. And then you're bordering on a pathological liar then, which is a little scary. And the same thing with lie detectors. There are people that they are pathologically programmed to fool the lie detector. They're like, yogas. They can control their heart rate and all that. Yep.
If someone tells you the war is going to be over, they're lying. There is only one end to war.
Well, and here's the problem. We have outlawed war. In the old days, unfortunately, we have outlawed, literally, by convention, total warfare. As in, well, at some point, you have to bring, if you're in a fight with Mike Tyson, you better knock him out or bring him to his knees. Otherwise, he ain't giving up. And we have outlawed that because it's cruel, it's inhumane. But in the long run, it turns 30-year wars into 4 or 5-year wars, which I think is more humane in the long run. If a war can be humane or just.
I'm thinking about the experience that a lot of youngsters, when they leave home just for college, experience. It's well known, well documented that certain fraternities, I'm thinking about the Skull and Crossbones in Yale, where you're basically getting all of the experiences that the classic statement as an older person is, well, I was doing all that as a college student. That was my experimenting as a college student. I was discovering myself as a college student. And when you get in these sororities and there's a kind of a communal saying, what happens in Vegas doesn't leave Vegas. type thing. And I think that that's kind of how, for example, when photographs pop up about Al Franken, for example, when he was working with SNL. I mean, I know for a fact, I have done some work with certain kinds of performers in entertainment here in the Twin Cities. And I know that there are probably photographs, I have them on my website, in fact, that show these experiences. And if someone wanted to sort of use that against me, yeah, it's out there. And I think that there's a tendency to try to normalize the negative, but I guess there's always that conditional, I guess you call it situational comedy if you want to, or conditional situations, where if I am in this particular situation, I will have this reaction, or I will do this kind of thing. And it's like I had a professor who used to call it soft determinism. If my desires had been different, I would have chosen to do otherwise.
Truth versus lies. It's getting harder and harder to distinguish what the truth is. And that's, I think that's not a good thing. But I don't know how to get back from that. Deep fakes, for example, now are very easy to create. You see, you go online and you'll see a celebrity looking very solemn and selling a product, and that's probably a deep fake. That person never really said that stuff. And I know there are certain celebrities who are now copywriting some of their expressions or whatever to prevent, so they have some control, so they can at least get paid when deepfakes start using them. So reality versus unreality is getting harder and harder to distinguish, and some people are taking advantage of that. They'll say anything and do anything and say, and people won't really know that what they're doing is not, what they're saying is a lie.
And
that's getting a little bit off topic, but I think it's still relevant because secrecy secrecy can be hidden by lies. I mean, truth can be hidden by lies, and that's a form of secrecy.
And lies can be hidden by lies.
Yeah, right. Well, one other thing I wanted to mention was someone talked about humane war. Oh, that was Dean. He was saying a shorter war is more humane. Well, I don't know. A half-hour all-out nuclear exchange is a short, but I wouldn't call it humane.
No.
Agreed.
Yeah. Carol.
Yes. I think you people are underestimating there have been times and places within living memory where secrecy meant life or death.
Mm-hmm.
It's even possible to engineer such things today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of like keeping that Jewish grandmother a secret in Germany in 1941.
Mm-hmm.
But today, you hire a hacker to go into break into someone's computer and implant really seriously bad seriously bad child pornography on their computer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you tell the police, you know, I think this guy has some really bad stuff on his computer. I mean, he even showed it to me. Okay, what's that guy's fate? Is he going to end up in jail and probably killed by inmates who do not like child molesters? I mean,
Yeah, it's a problem, Carol.
well, I'm not sure. I mean, you know, you talk about social ostracism or having to leave the
yeah,
country.
no, it can be much, much worse than that.
Yes.
Or maybe better. I mean, it might be better to be beaten to death by convicts and to live for 50 years in prison knowing you've been convicted of something that wasn't true. Choice I don't want to think about. Dean.
Yeah, actually, Tom Walsh, I vehemently disagree. I mean, if you look at the numbers of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the only time nukes have been used, there were a lot of innocent people killed, maimed, etc. And but you compare it to the numbers of Dresden, you compare it to the 1.5 million, whatever, in Vietnam, it's nothing. Hiroshima and Nagasaki were a drop in the bucket, and they were the slap across the face that got Japan's attention. So did Dresden. And as many or more people were killed in Dresden by firebombing than were killed in at least one of those two bombs.
That was 80 years ago. Times are different now.
Well,
Yeah.
nukes ain't different now.
There's a lot more of them. They can wipe out more
Yeah,
than the city.
but there's also a whole heck of a lot more conventional bombing. You know, I mean, yeah, I mean, war has evolved. No, I get it, but what? How do you? What's the alternative when two people have a disagreement? They go put on the boxing gloves. That's what my parents did. Oh, you and your brother not getting along? Here's the boxing gloves, and we had boxing gloves, and we would go pound each other for a while, and we'd say, "Hey, this is stupid. Why are we doing this?" You know.
What ages were you and your brother at this time?
We were the age of male stupidity, whatever that is. Yeah, so yeah,
Could
we
be
were
any
like
age.
eight. I think we outgrew it by the time we were 10, certainly.
Okay, but
yeah,
I mean,
6 to 8.
would you use that with a child of 4 and a child of 10?
No, but my brother and I
No.
were 15 months apart. We were of equal stature.
Yes, Irish twins.
Right. Okay.
That's the vulgar
Sure.
phrase for
Carol.
yes.
Your hand is up.
Oh, your hand came up. I thought your hand went down and came up.
Nope. That was left over.
Let's continue.
You got more of that stuff, Tom?
Oh, I got. I thought I wasn't going to have enough, and we've only watched the first video.
Okay, let's go.
I'm looking at this list and saying, which should we do? Blah, 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 blah. You know, next we should do, Stan, if you can, the video I titled "Inside the Secret World," and start at 1 hour and 40 minutes. It's a 2-hour video. I'm going to watch the last 15 minutes.
This is the perfect pair for your iPhone. And it replaces 3 different chargers. This is the Ridge magnetic power bank. Yes.
Have you seen that podcast with on Alistair Campbell Rory
Yeah.
The question.
Stan, the video's not showing.
You're not.
I'm still queuing it up.
Yeah, I figured he was trying to find the right spot.
I generally mute myself during that time frame, but I got lazy and
Okay.
let you hear.
Okay. That's okay.
Now I'm just dialing up. Can you see the red dot down here?
Yep. Yep.
Where is that a good starting point?
Close enough.
They're at 119.
All of that video was just tremendous.
I wish I could hear a single word of it. I read most of it. And you're going to put that on
It's on the.
Yep.
It's on the list here. It's the one I titled "Inside."
Yeah,
the
no,
Secret Road.
the guy was fascinating, smart, intelligent, but the kids ain't audio engineers. I could hear them because they had their mics close. He's sitting 3 feet away from his mic, and speaking in British English so that I could actually understand, and very frustrating. I had to. I could just as well read the transcript, but a couple things. One thing struck me at the end. If you want to know, I remember MI6, MI5. You know the difference? MI6 is CIA, MI5 is NSA, MI5 is domestic intelligence, MI6 is foreign.
Yeah, FBI and CIA.
Yep. But yeah, he said, well, government intelligence is going to be replaced by Silicon Valley intelligence. We're going to privatize intelligence. That's what he said. But that's what
we've always done in a way.
Well, in a way, we've hired contractors, but they worked for me, the government. They didn't work for Zuckerberg or what's his face or all those other evil characters. Yeah. To me, they're evil.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many
they're
cutouts
good and they're evil. And by the
how many cutouts does it take before it's a government agency?
Yeah. Contractors working for contractors and blah, 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 blah. And real quick, Tom Walsh, why does it affect me whether or not Iran has nuclear weapons as a mutual deterrent against Israel? Just like Pakistan and India have had nukes for 20, 30, 40 years, and they never shot one of them. They've had skirmishes. So why, my brother and I have often argued for, I don't care whether Iran has nukes. I know they say death to America, but that's a euphemism for death to Israel. Let them fight it out. I don't really give an RA.
Not sure why you were addressing me on that.
Well, because you said the idea of nukes was we should turn back the clock and get rid of them, or
no, I didn't say that.
Yeah,
I was just responding to your assertion
but mutually assured destruction worked between us and the Soviet Union, right? And it has worked in Pakistan. Well, we haven't shot any nukes at each other.
We haven't shot any.
Yeah, well, there have been.
I think I think the supposition is that the regime in Iraq is not considered rational.
Me
Oh,
and Ron?
100,000% agree.
So
But I'm not sure the
rational
regime.
behavior.
I'm
were a
not
death
sure the
cult.
regime in Israel is rational completely.
But Judaism doesn't have as a tenet that they should erase the rest of the world.
Well,
Eric?
it's like all religions, they would love. No, it's a private country club. You got to be invited into Judaism. That's correct. Yeah.
Well, you can join, but they make it difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah.
Eric?
Oh, yeah, talking about intel agencies reminded me of another anecdote I thought was quite funny, and for two ways. Way back in 1970, when I graduated from college, I had a cheap black trench coat, but I found it was too warm for me most of the time, even in winter New York. So I put a note in the bulletin board to sell it, and I sold it to a history grad, a guy who just graduated in history, because he told me he had just gotten accepted by the CIA and wanted to look the part. But the most interesting part was he told me their entire application process, and this was in 1970, their application process was, give us your social security number. We'll find out everything else we have to know.
There's a game that's connected to Pikachu where they have you out and about in the neighborhood with your phone trying to find some kind of a virtual kind of an Easter egg hunt. Does anybody remember that game?
Yeah, we see them in the park sometimes when we're walking.
The company that designed that game was using those images to fulfill the image library that they weren't getting from Google Maps. They basically were able to use that information to fill in all the video spaces that they hadn't been able to collect with the vehicles driving down the streets in Google Maps. And it was I mean, this is interesting backstory, and I'm sure that Google Maps plus this Pikachu video were sort of a plus to the entire collection or database. But I thought it was an interesting point of view that instead of technically hiring all these trucks to drive around, you can get people out there with their smartphones giving you the same, or maybe not the same quality, but in some cases, maybe so.
Crowdsourcing.
More detailed sort of information.
Okay. The U.S. government tunnels video is 42 minutes of how the U.S. has been digging tunnels. We all know about, or we should have all seen pictures at least, of the grand opening entrance to Cheyenne Mountain, where parts of the Air Force are hidden and preserved and safe from attack. Yeah. And we've now all seen recent images of huge numbers of tunnels in Iraq that have been busted open supposedly by new and improved non-nuclear explosions. And that's really part of what got me started on this, is how do we defend Cheyenne Mountain? And I never really got around to that, so I still don't know, or if we do, or how big it is.
Cheyenne Mountain is Colorado Springs, right?
Yeah.
Bunker busters have limited efficacy.
Yeah, but
big bombs.
We have, the government has been digging tunnels in the U.S. Now, I knew there were tunnels under Washington, D.C. for this, that, and another. And I suspected there were some in St. Louis for one reason or another. But we've spent a lot of money on tunnels in the continental United States. And this video goes into that in a certain amount of detail, which at times is very boring and at times is they what?
We've only got 20 minutes.
I know we don't have time to watch it at all, and so it's just going to be there as a secret treat for you to watch by yourself sometime. The next
treat.
Can I comment on that?
Somewhat
called a
secret.
teaser on TV. That was a teaser.
Yeah.
Been wanting to comment on that. With the tunnels, even if they go deep in a mountain, you don't have to burrow all the way into the innermost end of the tunnel to get the people to just eliminate people. If you can find all the entrances and seal them, that's equivalent.
Well,
even burrowing animals usually makes multiple entrances, so it's a matter of if we can find the entrances.
The government tunnels appear to have multiple entrances, multiple entrant exits, and multiple connections underground.
Yeah, if
they
someone
learned
can map all the entrances,
from
the map looks a whole lot like a map of the U.S. railroad system.
Yep.
Except it's 200 feet underground.
Yeah.
Or thereabouts.
I just posted it. I just posted the video to the chat.
I gotta save my chat.
The next video, I headline "Privacy is Dead," and we have time enough to watch that, and it was good. The last one is also good, but we're not going to approach that one. It's left as an exercise for the students if they are still interested in this topic. So, Stan, if you would begin with "Privacy is Dead."
Briefly, speaking of tunnels, the ones under the east wing of the White House are of interest, where the new ballroom is being built.
Oh yeah, the ballroom thing.
Yeah, that's I understand why they chose Washington, D.C. as a place to do that, but they really could have chosen someplace better.
Pollyanna.
There are optimists in the world.
Pollyanna. I love a good Pollyanna. Well, if we could only do this. If we could only do this.
Okay.
If wishes were horses, I couldn't afford to feed a horse.
Beggars would ride.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah,
the videos that we haven't shown are, in my opinion, worth watching over the next week or two. And there isn't going to be anything earth-shaking about it, but they can definitely consume some time.
No, I think my hand is still up.
Yes, it is.
And or was. Yeah, interesting that we're all going to have a chip in our arm by 2025 in 10 years, right? I mean, I love the little bit of looking back. I wish that I did, because I wouldn't mind going in a store with an RFID in my forehead and facial recognition and paying for my groceries. That would be nice instead of fiddling with my watch or plastic or all that. But
and can tell the RFID scanner, because of the bunk on your head, reads the number wrong.
Well, it works for our cats. They are chipped to our cat doors, and only they can blast through the cat door. And they know how to do it.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, they've absolutely learned. They can bolt through it at full speed because they've learned when the chip activates the cat door. I mean, that
Dan?
I would say that a couple of things could be stumbling blocks for his Pollyannic vision. One,
yeah.
the Internet of Things depends on microchips, which are getting more expensive and harder to produce in that kind of volume. Putting them, and if you have them, I mean, it's also
really wise, Stan. I can get them for free for a cat at
kind of
Humane Society.
it's kind of also elitist, because I don't think the opportunities afforded to him with his certain salary and certain income are going to be extended to everyone in the world, for example, billions of people instead of a couple of 100,000.
The world is elitist, period.
It may be that if you're wealthy, you aren't required to have a chip. Mr. Walsh?
Well, a couple things now. What you showed us are mostly 10-year-old videos, and things have changed a lot in the last 10 years. And
yes, they have.
It'd be interesting to get current prognostications about the state of secrecy and so forth. And I think these guys were probably pretty well on track, but of course not everyone's chipped, but we don't have chips implanted, but we're carrying around chips in our pockets. I mean,
yep.
And so, you know, we can be tracked, all our activities can be tracked that way anyway.
Yep. When I walk into my gym, the reader picks up the card in my pocket, checks me in. Yeah. What's new in privacy and secrecy is, how can I say this? So far, pretty much private and secret. People aren't doing videos about it that I'm seeing. I'm sure there are some there, but I couldn't find them. Eric?
Yeah, Dean gave me a great idea there. Where can I sell it? How about putting spy cameras and transmitters in mice and rats and the other animals around, alley cats?
Oh, they do it. It's been done. Yep.
Yeah.
Dean.
All right. So, yeah. So I think Tom. So I'd love looking back 10 years ago and seeing what they were projecting 10 years hence. And so, are these guys' predictions, are they worse, better, neutral than what they were predicting 10 years ago? I don't know. Anyone?
Small pieces of privacy still remain here and there in the world, and probably always will. Mostly this is privacy.
I don't have cameras all over my house, like 90% of people on the planet have. So when I'm taking a shower, nobody's seeing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm counting cameras in my house. I believe
inside.
Wait a minute.
And I will never have one. Ever, ever, ever.
Your smart TV knows what you're doing.
Smart TV has a camera. My laptop has a camera. That monitor over there that I'm looking at has a camera. My phone has 2 cameras. My phone has 3 cameras. My old phone has 1 camera. My wife's new phone has 3 cameras.
All right, but
our car has 9 cameras.
But that's very different than cameras all over your house, like some Verbos and Airbnbs I stayed in that were recording every move you make to the cloud. It's not quite.
I'm feared that's coming. and we won't even notice it. The science fiction thing about this is probably, oh God, there's so many of them. John Ringo's The Console Wars. The last video on the list is tagged at the end, Betelgeuse. There are exciting things happening in astronomy. We may be losing one of the 58 navigation stars.
By the way, it's pronounced Betelgeuse, not Beetlejuice.
Yeah, but Beetlejuice makes a good movie.
Beetlejuice sounds cooler.
Anyway, the video is animation and foretelling, but it just really, I mean, that's been there forever. What do you mean it's going to go away?
Yeah, could you?
Orion, some astronomers are saying that it's going to go supernova.
Well, it's a
What-
red giant, so I don't
What
know.
star?
Betelgeuse
Oh, okay.
in the shoulder of Orion.
Betelgeuse. Good old Orion, my favorite constellation.
Anyway, it's been acting apparently very strangely for a star. I am not enough of an astronomer to know much more than that, except that they think it will eventually, like, well, actually, some of them are saying that actually it went away 250 years ago. We're just noticing it now.
That's what I was going to say. We'll know in a couple, 300, 400, 500 years.
No, when we know it will have been 250 years ago that it happened.
Of course.
But it's the world changes, but that was not a part that I ever expected to see change.
The universe changes, not to mention the world.
Well,
but
what are they predicting it is going to do?
Or Nova.
Go Nova.
Goes nova or supernova. And, yep.
Well, there's a big difference between how we would be affected between a nova and a supernova.
Yeah, it's pretty far away.
But we won't be affected. And none of our children or grandchildren will be affected, probably.
It's 250 light years away. And it might be slightly brighter for a week or a month, and then it will quietly disappear.
Well, my AI says that it'll go supernova within 100,000 years. But I think
but they, yep. Wake me up with Walt Disney. Yep.
Yeah. And we'll find out about it, assuming we stay here, about 250 years after it happens.
Oh, does anybody besides Tom remember that great little Arthur C. Clarke short story? I think it was called The Star. And it turns out it was the star, the Christmas star. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. I do remember.
My Lord, did you have to? It turns out when Nova destroyed a great advanced civilization, why God did you have to choose that star?
Yeah. And then the fellow who finds it out is a Jesuit priest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The irony.
As I recall.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Oh.
I mean, he has an interest in things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he had a horrible dilemma of, do I tell?